Our market. Chris Weston joins us from IG Markets in Melbourne right now. Chris, good to see you there. And another night of euro weakness. The Aussie, really a popular trade for people looking, I guess, for yield, but not wanting risk.
Well, I think you've got this. There's a number of factors going on here, Bridie. I think Angela Merkel's comments last night coming out that they haven't shaped Europe in such a way that they can be sure that it was going to work, really catapulting the market down. We then saw Jürgen Stark, who's the former ECB economist, coming out and saying that some of the weaker states should probably leave. That sort of gave it a 1-2 punch, and you know, the euro came down to, I think, about the 122.18 level against the greenback. Euro Aussie coming down to a new low of 118.34. It's trading around those kind of just 10 points or so around higher than those levels at the moment, and I think you're probably going to get that down to about 117.20, 117.30 in the short term. I think we're probably going to see further euro weakness coming through against the Aussie. I mean, you just have to look at what's going on in all parts of the capital market right now, Bridie. It's about yield. It's about the search to being paid into a position. When you're looking at the VIX trading at just above 16, which is the lowest level, I think, since April the 3rd. You've got 1 month implied volatility in the currency markets, in the Aussie dollar, for example, trading at 9, which is the lowest level since the 4th of May, which is also multi-year lows. You are going to see people search out yields, and you know, hence why we're seeing Telstra being used as a long-term bond. You're seeing banks, the banking sector in Australia, up 10% in the last 31 days. Wesfarmers up 11% in the last 31 days, and Euro Aussie will continue to make lower lows as well. I think you can look at the equity market, which continues to push higher. Well, it has pushed higher for a second day in the US. IBM's come out with what looks like a pretty decent result in the post market, and we're seeing futures up a touch, although they are coming off a touch. That stock was up about 2.5%. Now the Dow probably will outperform tonight because IBM has a double-digit weighting on that market. So, you know, clearly you are going to see, you know, the Dow push up a little bit higher tonight, given that result. But I think all in all, you know, what we're seeing is, you know, a search for yield, and I think what you've also got is a situation where Spain remains front and centre. I mean, didn't get so much publicity last night, but their yields back up to the 7% level on the 10-year. Their bad loans as a percentage of total lending creeping up to a new 18-month high, and Spanish yields pushing higher. So, you know, that's something to watch ahead of tonight's Spanish bond auction as well.
US stocks, though, overlook the euro weakness and those comments from Angela Merkel?
Well, I mean, I think what we're seeing at the moment is this kind of differentiate between the euro dollar and everything else. I mean, it is a search for yield, and I mean, for so long there has been that correlation between euro dollar weakness and then subsequently equity weakness. That seems like it's had a sort of temporary move away, and people are looking at the housing metrics, which came out quite strong last night. You can also then look at the Bernanke put, which is firmly in place, and you know, again, people are saying we're going to have to look at some of the data, like the non-farms on the 3rd of August, the upcoming CPI, the upcoming GDP number, bits and pieces ahead of the Jackson Hole meeting, ahead of the FOMC meeting in September. So that Bernanke put's still very much there in the equity market. So I think you've got to look at the earnings, and again, earnings are, for the 13th quarter in a row, beating expectations by quite some way. So, you know, I think people are saying that, you know, corporate America is still very, very healthy, and you've got the Bernanke put in place.
So what do you think for our market then? Because it's been interesting the way the market's traded, particularly the way the materials were really sold off yesterday. Where do you see the market opening here?
Yeah, I think, look, if you're looking at fund managers, what they're doing at the moment, it's, as I said just a minute ago, it's about yield stocks at the moment. It's about being paid to be in a sideways trading market. You know, covered calls are pretty good in that sort of side of things, but you know, you can look at the banks at the moment. The banking sector is up, as I say, 10% in the last 31 days. This is Wesfarmers. Telstra's, you know, still signed that underlying support, but we're seeing a market that's going to open around 41.58 today. So it's going to be a positive day. We would like to see a close above 41.62, which is the 38% retracement of years high to low, and then you've got 41.75, which was the I think the 7th of sorry, the 5th of July high as well. So we can get a bit of a wriggle on this morning, and we can actually see subsequent follow-through buying. You know, those are the couple of levels. If we can get a close above, that would be a highly positive situation, and see us trade up to the 200-day at the 4200 level. But it's about materials. Everyone seems to be underweight materials. Everyone's looking to sell into the bounces. I actually thought BHP's result yesterday, production numbers, were really, really good, and I think hopefully they're going to be rewarded for what should have been a positive positive day yesterday. Unfortunately, they're getting caught up with the the higher capex charges, the higher costs, and the funding issues that some people have about Fortescue and Rio as well. So I think BHP should see a stronger day, up about 1.3%. But it's about the banks at the moment, whether that underlying support in the banking space can continue to push up, and that should support our market longer term.
Chris, great to get your thoughts, and be interesting to see how the day pans out. We'll talk to you a bit later. Chris Weston there from IG Markets. Well, let's just turn now to Europe, where we saw unemployment in the UK fall to a 9-month low in the May